Good evening and welcome to the Lilly Roddy Show. So glad to have you here joining me in Houston, Texas as I give my weekly forecast about what's going on for this week, November the 17th through the 23rd. Of course, this is 2013. And if we have a little bit of time, I'm also going to talk about what's going on in President Obama's chart. So let's start with our daily forecast. And we're going to start with Sunday, so here we go. Sunday, November the 17th, the moon starts the day in earthy Taurus. The moon does oppose the sun. Of course, this is the full moon at 25 degrees Taurus at 9:16 a.m. We're all feeling social and really ready to engage with others. This is a great morning for communing with nature. The moon is now void, of course, until 6:07 p.m. when the moon finally enters dualistic Gemini. While the moon is void in Taurus, take some time to fully engage your body, allowing you to feel more grounded. Taurus represents the senses, so we want to be connected. As the moon enters versatile Gemini at 6:07 p.m., we're definitely more chatty, and our brain seems to work better. Moon squares Neptune at 11:09 p.m. This is a great aspect to be sleeping and avoiding any problems. So I suggest early to bed. Monday, November the 18th, the moon in mentally active Gemini all day. The moon sextiles Uranus at 11:35 a.m. What a great time to break up your day, do something totally different. It's a great day to reach out to new clients or customers if you're in a more business mode. And this is a wonderful time for problem solving, brainstorming, and making new friends. So be open. This is a really good time for this kind of energy. On Tuesday, November the 19th, the moon is in Gemini, continues in Gemini, the sign of siblings all day today. We have a really strong aspect in the morning. Mars sextiles Jupiter at 8:48 a.m. This is definitely the day to go big or go home. We're looking to expand our sense of ourselves today. This is a great day for lots of activity and lots of different kinds of activities, presenting sales programs, meeting with foreign investors, taking a quick trip to Paris for lunch, or just getting out of town. We all feel more positive about our potentials. And this is a great day for investing as well. So this is a good energy. Mars sextiles Jupiter, and it's in effect all day. Later in the morning, the moon squares Mars at 9:59 a.m. We're feeling impatient with this aspect. Find another way to your destinations or delay it until the blocks pass. The moon is void after 9:59, right after this Mars transit. Keep to your original plans, but just add some patience. So the moon goes void, of course, right after 9:59. On Wednesday, November the 20th, the moon starts her day in our homey and emotionally security conscious Cancer at 5:23 a.m. We'll all want to feel safe today. Find your mother. Find that inner home. Moon trines Neptune at 10:35 a.m. It's a good time to feel your way through the day. Let your emotions be your guide. We just want to get along today. Mercury sextiles Pluto, 8:07 p.m. in the evening. Your mental skills are very sharp this evening, really razor sharp. This is a good time for untangling knots, solving complex problems. You will also have a lot of persistence and will stay with that process until the very end. You have a lot of persistence, and yes, sometimes obsessive-compulsive can work for you. This aspect is in effect all day. Moon squares Uranus, 11:14 p.m. This may keep us up late tonight. You'll need to have some mental activity or at least some diversions. Don't do things you don't want to do with Uranus activity. On Thursday, November the 21st, the moon continues in possessive Cancer all day. And yes, Cancers are possessive. Moon opposes Pluto, 1:19 p.m. If you're awake, this is a good time to clean out something, your closet, old files, your family, if you have time for them. Later in the day, later in the morning, not very much later, Moon trines Mercury at 1:55 a.m. We're finally ready to come back to our senses and come to bed. Moon opposes Venus at 10:53 a.m. That's a much nicer time for this aspect. What a great time to meet with anyone new. This is a great time for seeing clients, potential new partners, and make sure you have a nice lunch with this nice Venus aspect. Later in the afternoon, the moon trines Saturn at 1:44 p.m. We're back at work and at our chores for the day. And we're smiling and feeling positive and upbeat all the way. We're feeling more confident, particularly as the sun enters Sagittarius at 9:48 in the evening for the next 30 days. We'll all feel more upbeat and positive with sun in Sag. With the Sagittarian energy, make sure you change your habit patterns for the next 30 days. Do something different, enliven your surroundings. The moon conjuncts Jupiter at 9:58 p.m., and this is a great way to end this day with this wonderful lunar aspect. It's a great aspect to be out with friends, clients, just on the open road. Such a nice way to end the day on Thursday. On Friday, November the 22nd, the moon starts the morning in traditional Cancer. Moon sextiles Mars at 1:11 a.m. If you're awake, you're ready for some activity. Good night for being out late. The moon does go void, of course, at 1:11 a.m. right after that. And the moon is void most of the day. Schedule your important meetings for after 5:56 p.m. when the moon enters luscious Leo. We're definitely feeling more stable as the moon enters Leo. Moon trines the sun at 7:49 p.m. This is a great aspect for almost any kind of activity. Make the best of it. And finally, Saturday, November the 23rd, moon continues her journey through self-oriented Leo. The moon trines Uranus at 11:48 a.m. These are wonderful energies for being around new people, making friends, involved in group or any kind of group or community activity, and stepping out of your comfort zone. You are more inspired and inspiring to others with this aspect. Venus sextiles Saturn at 12:46 p.m. A clear time to look at current relationships and to make some plans for the future of that relationship. This is a good stabilizing influence on all partnerships now, and it's a very good time to begin a new relationship. This aspect is in effect all day. The moon squares Mercury at 10:02 p.m. I hope you have someone to talk over the evening and the day with, because you will certainly want to talk. If you can, great evening to get out and have some fun on a date. Well, that's all for this particular week. Now, obviously we have some time left, and I thought I would cover some more of the current events as we add more to our show, and I get to talk more astrologies. And tonight I'm going to talk about Barack Obama, President Obama's chart. I'm using the chart that with his birth in Hawaii, 7:24 p.m., Honolulu, Hawaii. I know that there's could be a lot of controversy over whether or not that's his chart. But in many ways, I sort of look at this as though I look at the birth of the United States of America. The reality is, of course, that July 4th, 1776 wasn't the day that our country started. It took 5 years of them trying to get everybody together. But that was still the date that we set to honor the USA. So that becomes our birthday as an iconic representation of who we are, regardless of really whether or not that's the actual day. That's the day we own. in terms of our identity when we look at our astrology charts. So in Barack Obama's chart, this is really where most of the struggle is coming from in his chart. Barack Obama has, President Obama has Moon at 3 Gemini, and he has Pluto at 6 Virgo. So basically in his natal chart, he has his Moon squaring Pluto. His Moon's in the 4th house in Gemini, and his Pluto in Virgo's in the 7th house. And essentially what's taking place in his chart is currently is the Moon has been squaring, Neptune has been squaring his Moon and is about to make the 3rd pass over it. Now next year in 2014, Neptune is going to oppose Barack Obama's Pluto. I wanted to talk sort of about that, how that might resolve itself and how it might show itself. One of the things that I noticed with the Neptune transit is the first pass that Neptune squared President Obama's Moon was when all of the NSA information came out about listening in on our conversations. I thought how appropriate for a Moon in Gemini. Here's Neptune opening things up. On the next pass, when it retrograded back, this is when President Obama wanted to invade Syria. And there was so much pushback from that, and that was when I believe President Putin stepped up and really sort of stole the show and really stole President Obama's energy during that time. It was remarked in the news. I mean, it just seems so evident. And he's about to have one more pass of this Neptune, and that's going to be at the end of December and the beginning of January. As Neptune moves along, it will oppose his Pluto. I think this represents really the fight and the struggle that he's going to have over Obamacare. Now, personally, I'm apolitical. I want everyone to get along. I'm a simple political person. We should all get along. We all live here. Nevertheless, I really think that there's going to be a struggle with him getting more of his Obamacare passed. In fact, I think they're going to strip it down even more. Part of the reason that I think this is because over a series of events in our own history in America, when President Clinton was elected to office, he was elected and inaugurated with Mars retrograde. And if you remember, he tried to start a big health program. That was also the don't ask, don't tell stuff. All of that came from that Mars retrograde period. And you remember that President Clinton, although he turned that over to his wife at the time, Hillary, they were not able to make any headway. And when President Obama came in and started bringing up Obamacare once again, when he was inaugurated, Mars was retrograde. And it just seemed so obvious to me, here was another process where that wasn't going to happen. And once again, we are back to this very same cycle. Mars is retrograde for 7 months, starting in December. From December 7th, Mars is, well, not retrograde, Mars is in Libra from December 7th until the end of July in 2014. So I think it's going to be a big struggle with our healthcare program, and I think we just won't know what's going to happen. So thanks for letting me talk about this. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. Thanks for joining me this evening here on the Lilly Roddy Show. And remember to keep those stars in your eyes. Good night.